Hello, travelers. I am Tori. Welcome to Hailing with Traveling Treasures. Today, I have a very special friend of mine on. This is Stacy. We met at Camp Breasty a few years back, and she's here to talk about her metastatic breast cancer and the relationship that she had during her cancer journey so far. Stacy, hi. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you.
I'm so excited to be here, Tori. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Do you want to tell our listeners anything about yourself?
Yeah, so I am 33 years old. I am living on my own for the first time in my entire life. Um, I was diagnosed early stage in 2021 and I went through treatment and I went through a couple years of survivorship and then I ended up getting a metastatic diagnosis. So I am stage 4 as of October of 2024. And throughout the entire time, I was engaged, I got married, I had a separation, I got divorced, and here I am living on my own and really just learning everything about myself that I never knew before
Yeah,
and enjoying the discovery.
yeah. That's a lot to go through in a short amount of time. That's a lot of major
Yeah.
life changes in a very
Yeah,
short
it's
amount of time.
crazy to think about.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'm coming up on my 5 year cancerversary
hmm
of my original diagnosis, which was in April of 2021.
Wow.
So it's officially been 5 years since that diagnosis.
hmm
And like to look back and see that like cancer stuff aside,
hmm
I was engaged, married, bought a house, got a dog, got divorced is like crazy to say in 5 years.
Yeah, yeah.
It's nuts.
What a 5 years. What a whirlwind, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So when you were first diagnosed, how did it come to be? How did you find out? How did you find it?
Yeah, so it's a little bit crazy because my mom went through a breast and ovarian cancer diagnosis when I was about 7 years old. It was like 2000, like the
Mhm.
year 2000. And she had breast and ovarian cancer at the same
Mm.
time. And they treated her. She went through surgery, treatment, everything. And I was only about 7 years old. And I had no idea what was going on. Um, decades down the line, we started talking about it more. And come 20, I want to say it was 2020,
Mhm.
my mom had gotten genetic testing years before
Mhm.
for BRCA
Mhm.
to see if she had BRCA 1 or 2. And they told her, you don't have either BRCA 1 or 2. However, we do see a mutation. We just don't know what it is. So it's that like VUS, like variant of unknown significance.
Right.
And years later, her sister got diagnosed with breast cancer. And then in 2020, they finally said, we know what this mutation
Mhm.
is. And she had two. My mom had two mutations, PALB2 and RAD51D, and both were high risk for breast and ovarian cancer.
Mhm.
And I got engaged January of 2020,
Mhm.
and we had a genetic counseling appointment in February of 2020.
Wow.
And they said they pulled my mom, my grandmother, my two sisters, and I all in a room. They already tested my grandmother. She came back negative, so we knew it was from my mom's father.
Mhm.
And they looked at me and my sisters and they said, you three should get tested because your mom has these genes.
Right.
You have a 50% chance of taking on either of them.
Mhm.
You could have none, you could have one or the other, or you could have both.
Mhm.
And I was 27, newly engaged. My partner at the time had this huge medical anxiety, like could not deal with anything medical at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so my sisters both got tested. They came back with one or the other, and I chose not to get tested
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't want to know for myself. I was only 27.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I don't need to know. But also, I don't want to know because my partner can't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
And the counselor told us, in addition to the
Mm-hmm.
testing, you're gonna start screening. Whether or not you have the mutations, you're gonna start screening 10 years prior to your mother's diagnosis.
Okay.
So my mom was 39 when she got
Mm-hmm.
diagnosed, which meant that we were gonna start screening at 29.
Mm-hmm.
And my two older sisters were already past that date.
Mm-hmm.
I was only 27. So I was like, whether or not I have these mutations,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start screening at 29. That's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then it was Easter morning. It was April 4th of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I was 28 years old, 2 months away from turning 29. So I had already planned on getting my mammogram in June of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
But it was April of that year, Easter morning, and I was in the shower just washing myself
Mm-hmm.
and soaping up. And as I went over my left breast, I felt something hard
Mm-hmm.
in there. And I immediately just kind of froze. But I also am the type of person that's like, don't go to the worst possible
Right.
circumstance. So I felt it. I got a little freaked out, but I was like, whatever, I got to go to my sisters. We're making brunch. And I went over there and when we did the whole Easter thing. But I did, at the end of the day, I pulled one of my sisters to the side and I said, can you just feel this for me?
Mm-hmm.
And she felt it and she was like, you should just get it checked.
Mm-hmm.
So I did. I went and got it checked and I went to an urgent care and the doctor there was like, what's your history? I gave her my family history and everything. And she was like, yeah, you should go get a mammogram and an ultrasound. And I mean, I was 28.
Yeah.
So I was very much in the mindset of like, this could be nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to overreact. So I'm going to be calm and cool and collected. But once that doctor told me that I really do need to get imaging done, I got a little bit worked up. And I called around, and a bunch of places were like 3 weeks, 4 weeks out. Like, and I was like, I can't wait that long. I
Right.
can't do it. And I called a hospital near me, and they were like, no, we can get you in here in 5 days.
Nice.
Like, you need to come in and be seen.
Mm-hmm.
So I did. I went in and I got the ultrasound. They didn't want to do the mammogram, but they did the ultrasound. The tech got all like weird and was like,
Mm-hmm.
I need to bring in somebody else. They brought in somebody else. And then that person was like, I need to go get the radiologist. They brought in the radiologist and she came in and she was like, yeah, you're getting a mammogram. They did the mammogram. And then they brought me into the office that day and they said, I don't want to use the C word, but we have a cancer center here.
Mm-hmm.
And, we can get you in for a biopsy. This was a Monday. They were like, we can get you in for a biopsy on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right. So you're basically telling me it's cancer. So let's do it. And I just went forward with it. And I had the biopsy on Friday and, everything kind of unfolded from there.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Do you, with all that being said, do you wish that you had gotten the genetic testing when your sisters did, or are you okay with the decisions that you made?
Yeah. So that's something that I haven't really revisited yet. Because my reason for not getting the genetic testing done at that time,
Mm-hmm.
I have a best friend who is BRCA positive,
Mm-hmm.
and she found out when she was 18.
Wow.
Well, we were both 18 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and she found out that she had the BRCA gene when she was 18, and like her world fell apart.
Oh, yeah.
So at 27, like I was receiving the information from the genetic counselors
Mm-hmm.
and I was fielding the information with the knowledge of my friend who was so young
Mm-hmm.
and didn't like, felt so devastated by that
Right.
diagnosis. And my fiance who also just like couldn't handle
Mm-hmm.
a diagnosis.
Yeah.
So I think I did right by myself by not getting the genetic testing done at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think I had the tools
Mm-hmm.
to support myself because I also did not have the support system
Right.
to get that information.
Mm-hmm.
However, after my diagnosis, I did do the genetic
Mm-hmm.
testing and I found out that I also carried the two mutations that my mom
Oh, wow.
carried.
Yeah. Wow.
So it was there's like this Pre-Vivor hat that I like to put on
Mm-hmm.
sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't always feel entitled
Mm.
to identify as a Pre-Vivor
Mm-hmm.
because I got diagnosed before I found out about the
Right,
mutations.
right. So
But I
basically,
don't think,
go ahead.
yeah. No, I was just gonna say I don't think that I don't think anything would have been different had I found out about the
Mm-hmm.
mutations
Yeah.
in 2020,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the pandemic.
Right.
I don't think that there would have been any difference of
Mm-hmm.
finding out about the mutations sooner
Right.
than when I did find my cancer.
Right. So the decisions that you made were really the best decisions for you, and I'm glad that um, you still feel that way, because that could have
Yeah.
been so much worse had you felt differently about it.
Yeah.
You know. So
Yeah, I hear people all the time just like beating themselves up about
right.
not getting tested sooner or
Mm-hmm.
not knowing. And I mean, cancer does not have a timeline.
Right.
So
Yeah.
even if I had tested in 2020
Mm-hmm.
when I was 27 years old, I don't think that that would have changed anything other than like just knowing that I have the
Right.
mutations.
Right.
I don't think that they would have I don't think I even would have had the opportunity to start screening
Right.
because the pandemic was happening.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No,
So
you're
I
right.
don't
Yeah.
yeah,
And
I don't harp on it because
that's good.
like why would I harp on that?
Yeah, that's no, that's good. That's a great attitude to have about it. And I've always felt that everything happens for a reason. So even the decisions that you make for your life, there's a reason behind it. And it's you do what's best for yourself in the moment, so
Yeah.
um so yeah, I'm glad that you feel okay with it cuz so many others don't. And I get it, that would have caused you a lot of anxiety, um and you kind of went into it with information. Like a lot of people don't a lot of people don't know what that means or don't know what it could cause as far as the mental anguish that you're going to go through. And
Yeah.
I certainly don't because I'm not a pre-vivor. Um, and I did have the genetic testing done too after my diagnosis, and I came up with nothing. So that was, fortunate for me. As far as how you feel about being a pre-vivor, I 100% would consider you a pre-vivor because even though you didn't know about it, it was still there, and you still dealt with, your mom having it and your sisters being, knowing that they were previvors, and even though you didn't find out until after your diagnosis, you still have that. You still have that.
Yeah.
So, as far as I'm concerned, you're
Thank you for saying that.
yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for saying that because it does it gets muddy, especially when you're
Hmm.
in the community
Right.
where people are like so not that they intend to be, but like they do kind of harp on their identity within the community,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So, um being that I was early stage
Mhm.
and then a survivor and now a thriver,
Mhm.
it is really hard to identify with like pre-Vivor
Right.
identity.
Yeah.
But I just had in January, I had a prophylactic radical hysterectomy.
Mhm.
Originally I was going in just to have my ovaries and tubes removed because ovarian cancer is high risk. My
Right.
mom had it. I have genetic mutations that leave me high risk for it.
Mhm.
So I always knew I was going to have my ovaries and my tubes removed. But then I was having issues with my uterus that weren't necessarily cancer related.
Mhm.
But I was like, I don't want to live my life with with this,
Right.
problem.
Right.
So I chose to have my uterus removed as well. And so I had this prophylactic hysterectomy, and in one sense it that allowed me to go off of Lupron, the ovarian
Mhm.
suppression,
Mhm.
which I've been on since my diagnosis because my original diagnosis was hormone positive.
Mhm.
So I've been in menopause since 2021 with ovarian suppression.
Right.
So the hysterectomy or BSO, whichever one I would have went with, would allow me to go off of that medication.
Right.
But the bigger piece of it was that it takes the risk of ovarian cancer away
Mhm.
and uterine cancer away.
Right.
And as a thriver, it's really hard to explain to people that I made this decision for prophylactic reasons.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And they just don't get it. Like they look at me and they're
Right.
like, "Oh my god, you're so young. Do you have kids? Do you want kids? Are you sure you want to remove that?" And I'm like, "That's not your business, first of all. And second of
Exactly.
all, like I'm so young that I have stage 4 cancer. So like
Mhm.
what like
Yeah.
it's a really hard conversation to have."
Yeah. Absolutely. I totally understand that. And the thing is like even though you are so young, it's you've been like you say you've been in menopause since you were 27. Once that
For 5
starts,
years.
it's kind of a moot, topic because there is no
Right.
more you don't have that option anymore basically. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And like you
Yeah.
say, it's none of anybody's business. The choices that you make for your body are your business only, nobody else's. And you have
Yeah.
absolutely no obligation to explain any of it to anybody or to any I lost my words, sorry. But it's only your
Yeah.
business. You don't have to explain it to anybody else. Nobody else needs to understand it except for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's 100% okay. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right?
It is what it and I'm happy. I
Mhm.
after getting my metastatic diagnosis
Mhm.
and knowing that I was likely going to leave my marriage, like I very much came to terms with my decision
Mhm.
on ending a marriage. We have embryos
Mhm.
from my original diagnosis. We
Mhm.
decided to do IVF and we ended up freezing some embryos.
Mhm.
Um, but when I got my metastatic diagnosis, it was like I had to take all of that into consideration.
Right.
And, even before my metastatic diagnosis, I remember, when you're early stage and you're in survivorship and you're on the endocrine therapy when you're hormone positive,
Mhm.
they tell you like be on the meds for 2 years
Mhm.
and then you can potentially take a break to plan a family.
Right.
And I had gotten to my 2-year mark and I went to my doctor
Mhm.
and I was just like, I was really going through it with myself, with like doubts about my marriage and things. And I
Mhm.
went to my doctor, and my oncologist had said to me, she's like, you know what, we're at the point now where if you want to take a break to try for family planning, I'd be comfortable with you doing that.
Mhm.
And I just broke down and I said to her, I said, I really need you to tell me that it's safer to stay on the meds.
Mhm.
Like, I really need you to tell me that it's not okay to get off the meds because
Mhm.
I'm not ready to plan a family with this person
Yeah.
who I'm married to. But I don't have the ability to tell him that.
Mhm.
And I really broke down to her and I was like, I can't have kids with him right now.
Right. Right.
And I just need you to be the reason. I need you to give me a reason to give him that, like, so that I don't have to tell him I'm not ready.
Mhm.
It can be medical, right?
Right.
And she did. She, like, 100%. She was like, so much safer for you to be on the meds. I'll write you a note. I'll do whatever I need to do. I got your back. Like, whatever feels safe and good for you, I'm gonna do that. And that was, like, really one of the first moments where I chose
Yeah.
myself and what I felt to be like a just an innate feeling,
Yeah. Yeah. Doing
and
it
I
for
listened
you,
to it.
not for somebody else. Hmm.
Yeah.
I just want to say I am so glad that you had such a supportive doctor, because not all doctors understand that, and not all of them would be so ready to, you know, help you in that manner. So I'm glad that you had that. I'm really glad. Um, I'm sure that made
She's
it a little bit easier.
incredible. She's incredible, and she's leaving the practice.
Oh
She's left this month.
no. Oh,
I've been with her since my original diagnosis, and she just left, and I was distraught
I
over it. I
bet.
mean, she was the kind of doctor where you walk into an appointment, and the first thing she asks is, "How are you doing? What's going on with your life? Where are
Mhm.
you at?" And she treated you like a person,
Mhm.
and then a patient. And she would talk to me about my personal life, but she also understood that I was very heavy into the community, and I have
Mhm.
spent a lot of time learning about, I always say, like, breast cancer is like a second language.
It
There's
is.
so much that you can learn. There's so
Mhm.
many acronyms, all those things. And she appreciated that I put the time in to educate myself on those things. And she would talk to me in that same language. And so she would
Nice.
talk to me about trials and medications and what everything meant in the language that I was studying. And
Mhm.
I just, like, oh my God. My mom got diagnosed for a second time last year. She
Oh.
became her patient. I brought her in. My grandmother has a hematology issue with, like, pre-lymphoma or whatever. And, like, now she's her patient. And, like, I would bring
Wow.
everybody because I'm like, my doctor, I trust her with my entire life. I would trust her
Wow.
with my mom's life, with my grandmother's life. She's amazing.
That's
Um,
awesome. What a great
so that's been, like,
testimony.
really tough to
Yeah.
have to say goodbye to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aw. Would you be comfortable giving her a shameless plug?
Uh, Dr. Linden, Dr. Erica Linden, she is going to St. Luke's in PA above Doylestown.
Oh,
She
wonderful.
deserves the time and space to live her own life because I think that's part of the reason why she's leaving the practice
Yeah.
that she's at. She's had, I can't even tell you the number. It's an insane number.
Hmm.
She had 2,000 patients.
Wow.
At the
Wow.
hospital that I'm treated at, she had 2,000 patients.
Wow.
She did not have a life whatsoever. Dr. Linden, that's my plug. She's my girl. I'll sing her praises day and night.
Nice. Did you say Dr. Linden?
Linden, yeah,
Linden.
Linden.
Okay. Very nice. Thank you so much, Dr. Linden, for everything you've done for my friend Stacy. I absolutely appreciate you more than you'll ever know. Yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah. Sounds like it. And you know what? Amazing doctors like that, as much as I hate to say it, they're few and far between. I have spent my entire life with doctors, whether it be my own health issues or work, because I've worked in the medical field for 23 years. So I know a lot of doctors. I've worked with a lot of them,
Yeah.
in both capacities, and a lot of them are not in it for what they started to be in it for. And it shows. But yeah, to find a doctor like
Yeah.
that is so special, and it's such a blessing. And I totally understand your feelings of anxiety when she left, because I moved across the country after my diagnosis, and just the
Yeah.
thought of having to start with new doctors and not knowing what they were going to be like. And I moved to such a small, well, it's a lot less populated from where I came from. Like, I was in Jersey and now I'm in New Mexico. So
Yeah. Yeah.
huge difference.
Black and white.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like, well, how many doctors are there really going to be there? Are they going to be too busy for me? Or, what kind of doctors are they? Yeah, it's stressful. But
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's like definitely something that is weighing on me right now because
mhm,
it feels like I'm getting diagnosed all over again by
right.
having to meet a whole new team.
Yeah.
And not just a whole new team, like I'm going to a whole new system.
Hmm.
So, like, I've been through an initial early stage diagnosis, then a metastatic diagnosis,
Hmm.
which was another like whirlwind, like start all over.
Hmm.
And now moving to a new system with new doctors, it feels again like another
Right.
diagnosis, even though I know what my diagnosis is right now, but
Hmm.
then it's also the metastatic space is so different,
Hmm.
so different.
Yeah.
Um, like that in and of itself
Yeah.
is like a deep dive.
I'm sure.
So it's crazy to think like so my doctor has this plan and this has been working in these ways, but like if I see a new doctor, they might have different ideas and a different plan and it
Hmm.
could take me on a different trajectory.
Right.
It's just yeah, so I'm nervous about it.
Hmm.
That's in a few weeks. April 8th I see my new
Hmm.
oncologist, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they are as good as she was with you.
They worked together,
Well,
so
that's
I'm really
good.
happy about that.
That's good.
Yeah,
So you
one
have.
of my best friend who's also BRCA positive, um, and her mom is a breast cancer survivor. They have a connection to this doctor at Penn Medicine. And so she reached out to me for my friend reached out to me first to say, you should see so and so.
Hmm.
And so I at my last appointment with Dr. Linden, I brought her up and I said, this is who my friend wants me to see. And Dr. Linden's like, she's not seeing patients. She's research heavy right now. And I was
Oh,
like, okay, I can understand that, but
yeah.
maybe I'll still move to that system, whatever.
Hmm.
I saw Dr. Linden. That was an appointment in the afternoon that day. She called me
Hmm.
almost 9 o'clock that night, Dr.
Hmm.
Linden, and she said, "I just want to let you know I'm sending an email to that doctor at Penn and letting her know that if by chance she's seeing new patients, that I would really like her to see you, even
Oh.
if it's just her consult."
Hmm.
And I was flabbergasted.
Yeah.
Like, not only did you send an email, you sent this email outside of your working hours and you called me
Right.
personally from your cell phone to my cell phone to tell me that you were sending this email. Like that's the kind of doctor that Dr. Linden is. Like
Yeah, that's amazing. That is amazing.
she's incredible. She's incredible. And actually when I was flying back from YSC in New Orleans,
Hmm.
it was Monday morning. I was flying back. I was still in the New Orleans airport, and
Hmm.
I got a call from Penn, and they were like, "Just so you know, that doctor's not seeing patients, so we're gonna set you up with someone else." And I said, "That's fine. Whoever you have available, I'll see. I'm not,
Hmm.
I'm not difficult, right?" I
Hmm.
set an appointment. They called me 30 minutes later. They were like, actually, that doctor got an email from another doctor that said she needed to see you. So she's going to make the time to consult with
Oh,
you.
that is
And they got me in with
amazing.
her.
Oh my
And
God, that's
I was
amazing.
just, I'm like, oh, I'm literally like this. I feel like Horton Hears a Who, like this
Yeah.
tiny little minuscule, little organism on this
Oh,
great big planet, but because I have such a caring oncologist and she
yeah,
took the time to put the word out and send that email, that oncologist who is like well into research is like, you know what, I will see her. I'm like, this is crazy. It's
yeah.
crazy.
Oh,
And I think everybody deserves that, but still, I
yeah.
don't feel like I deserve that. I'm like, why am I so special?
Oh, honey,
Because it has
you
nothing to do
are
with
so
me.
special. You are so special. And I think that's part of why you were blessed with Dr. Linden to begin with. I mean, not that everybody else isn't special too, but you
Right?
deserve this. You deserve this. You are such a
And
good
that's like a really
person.
hard thing.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah. It
Really
is.
hard
I
thing to grasp
understand
because
completely.
people who have been dismissed, people who
Hmm.
have been kind of like pushed to the wayside, right?
Right.
But I mean, Dr. Linden, like I to the day I die, like that's
Yeah.
she is my like not to
Yeah.
be blasphemous, but Lord and Savior. Like
Yeah.
I love her. And our lives are like intertwined, even like to the point where her son is in class with my niece.
Oh, wow.
And I think that that's a really special thing
Yeah.
that I'm just
That's
like,
really cool.
yeah, yeah. So I'm so freaking sad to say goodbye to her.
Oh,
Like I
yeah.
really am dreading not having her as my
I
doctor.
bet. I bet.
But I'm holding hope that she put in this word, she did this work, and
Hmm.
I'm in with this new doctor, and I have to like keep the faith that it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. Well, good. Good. I think that you're really on the road to a good team. Even if it's not her specifically, I think that she will, at the very least, get you in with a really good doctor. So,
Yeah,
like I said,
yeah,
everything happens for a reason, you know?
right.
And
Isn't that crazy?
yeah, it really is. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy for you as far as that concerned. Um, wow.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let me ask you, I'm going to switch gears just a tiny bit. Um,
Yeah,
how did your, at the time, fiance take your diagnosis? How did that go?
yeah. So, um, so I had found my lump
Hmm.
on April 4th, Easter morning. I was in the shower and I felt it.
Hmm.
And I didn't tell anybody anything. And I knew that my fiance had a lot of anxiety around medical
Hmm.
stuff. So when it came time to tell him that I was going to get checked out, um, I downplayed it and I said, it's just so you know, I found this lump. I felt it. I need to go get it checked out. I'm sure it's nothing. Like, I downplayed it for him.
Right.
And I'm sure for myself as well, but
Right.
I was really focused on his reaction, so I really downplayed it. And I said, "I'm sure it's nothing. It's nothing." But then they told me to go for the biopsy, and he took me to the biopsy, and they told him the whole spiel of, she can't, you know, do a lot of activity,
Hmm.
no household chores or anything like that. And I think he like started to realize that it was something a little bit serious at that point.
Hmm.
Um, but then so that was like I don't know, the 15th or the 14th of May
Hmm.
or April. And I had told my surgeon who ordered, I saw a breast surgeon the
Hmm.
day of my biopsy, and she was like, "Okay, we're doing the biopsy. We're going to get the results, and I'll call you with them." And I was like, "I don't have time to waste. I need to know so I can tell work, like, what's going on. Like, call me as soon as you have results."
Hmm.
And so I got the biopsy on a Friday, and she called me on a Tuesday to tell me that it was cancer, but that they were still waiting on the receptors.
Hmm.
So they didn't have a plan in place until they had the receptors. And that Tuesday happened to be 420. So if you celebrate, that is the day. um
Yeah.
my ex-husband is an avid THC user.
Yes.
No judgment. I don't have any
No
qualms
judgment.
about that. But I really fucking hated that it was 420 and I had to go home and tell him that
Oh,
I
I
got
bet.
like actually diagnosed with cancer.
Hmm.
And I remember walking into the house and or the apartment, and he was on the phone with somebody. He was like laughing. He was joking. Like he was like in a good conversation with somebody. And I
Hmm.
walked into the apartment and he saw me and he was like, "Oh no, what's wrong?" And I was like, "Yeah, it, it's what we
Right.
dreaded."
Yeah.
And he immediately, like, his initial reaction was like
Hmm.
sad face.
Yeah.
Complete sad face. And the whole thing felt like I had already called my family and friends on the way home to my apartment.
Hmm.
So like my immediate family and friends knew.
Hmm.
And then we were at our apartment. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Then we
Yes,
were at
please.
our apartment and I told him, and so then it was time to tell his family,
Hmm.
and we called his parents, his sister, and his brother individually.
Hmm.
And every time we called them, they picked up the phone and he started crying, and I had to tell them
Oh.
that it was positive for cancer,
Hmm.
which I was okay with doing.
Hmm.
I didn't feel any kind of way about having to do that,
Hmm.
but at the same time, it was like, aren't aren't you supposed to
Yeah.
be like
Comforting me.
taking care of me?
Yeah.
And my sister in law, his sister, had told me one time, she was like, I couldn't believe that you just said it over the phone. You just told me.
Hmm.
And I was like, well, he couldn't get the words out. What else was I supposed to do? And
Yeah.
she's like, that was like the strongest thing I've ever seen.
Hmm.
And I've never really resonated with like that kind of strength, because it's
Yeah.
like, what else are you supposed to do?
Yeah, that's what I've
Right?
always said is like, people always tell us, "Oh, you're so strong." And the thing is that you're not given a choice. It's not like
Yeah.
you're like, "Oh, I'm going to be strong today and I'm going to do this." No, it's not really a choice, Nobody wants to get cancer. Nobody, knows how they're going to react to it either. But when you're put in a
Right.
situation, and that goes with anything, when you're put in a situation, you just have to move forward. And however that
Yeah.
looks is how it looks. So,
Yeah. Yeah. It was definitely surreal.
mhm,
I never imagined having to tell so many people
right.
how, like, that I have cancer. But I do remember just like trying as hard as I could to like be strong, in the sense of
Yeah.
like not letting them feel my fear
Mhm. Yep.
of, like, I have a team, we have a plan, we're gonna do like
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah. I
Um,
totally understand
so
that.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And I for my fiance, I took it on. I
Yeah.
took it all on myself. It
Well,
was
yeah. And I think
yeah,
that's what we do. We do, and I think most people are like that. We do what we can for the people that we love. And even if it is our hard time, we want to comfort those that we love, and we want to try and make things as easy on them as possible. And that's just what we do as
yeah.
human beings. So,
Wholeheartedly agree with that.
mhm, mhm,
Yeah. And they don't understand that either. Like,
right.
that's, I think, the hardest part,
Mhm,
is that we know that we're doing that,
mhm.
but they don't see it that way.
Right, exactly.
I think
Exactly.
that's really been a difficult thing for me,
Yeah.
is that like I have friends and family that are like, you don't tell me, or you don't say this, or you don't share, and I'm like, because you're not going to see it the way I see it.
Yeah,
You're going to see
exactly.
it in a much darker sense,
Mhm,
or a
mhm.
sadder sense, and like, that's not where I live with it.
Yeah, well, and to me, the other part of how you present things to other people, what you do and do not share, it's also kind of a self preservation type thing. I don't want to
Oh
talk
yeah.
about this
Yeah.
particular thing with this particular person because I know it's going to make things harder on myself. Having to convince them of something
Yes.
else, and this is my journey, not theirs, you know?
Yeah. That is absolutely where community comes into
Yes.
play. I have multiple group chats
Hmm.
from multiple sources of the cancer community,
Hmm.
and every group chat I have a different like topic or subject that
Right.
relates to it, right? And like, because even within the cancer community, yeah, we all have cancer, right? We all
Right.
got breast cancer. That's how we connect, but we're also very different people
Yes.
with very different experiences.
Yes.
So it's important to find your subgroups
Hmm.
of people
Yeah.
to talk about the different hardships
Yeah.
and experiences that you have in life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the other thing that I have found helpful to it too, or about it, about community, is that you do get to learn, at least on the outside, other people's situations and diagnosis and what goes into that, and which helps you
Yeah.
to understand your own place a little bit better. And not only that,
Yes.
the biggest thing for me is the support and the love that you get from everybody else that's going through, similar things that you're going through. I mean, like you, for instance, like I said, you are such a light, and every time I see you, it just makes my day. you know, and I have made so many amazing friends and met so many amazing people through community that I never would have connected with before. And I'm so grateful for that. And I'm sure you are too.
I feel exactly the same way. I have people in my life, my immediate family, my close friends that
Hmm.
have known me for years and decades, and they'll say to me, they're like, "Oh my God, you have so many friends. Like, how do you just keep making friends? How do you just keep like going into community and like hearing people's stories and I'm like, you don't understand.
Yeah.
It's just yes, I'm taking on like what other people's experiences are. Like as we share with each other, we absolutely like take on the weight of what
Yes.
somebody else is experiencing.
Mhm.
But at the same time, we got to put down some of the weight that we're carrying.
Exactly.
Right. And um I mean, I think I spent my whole life feeling like I wasn't good enough to be anybody's
Hmm.
person. I wasn't good enough to be anybody's best friend,
Hmm.
right? I was just always kind of this like secondary character in everybody's life,
Hmm.
including my own.
Hmm.
And being in the cancer community, you are the main character no matter where you're at,
Right.
no matter who you're talking to.
Yeah.
You don't ever have to put yourself on the back burner. You
Hmm.
don't ever have to apologize for what you're feeling. You don't ever have to hide the
Hmm.
scary feelings that you're having or
Right.
thoughts or whatever. Like you get to be the main character and you get to make these connections with people that like you never got to make in your life.
Hmm.
Um that's like crazy to me. It was
Yeah.
literally like a oh my God, my first time at camp in 2023, I was like
Yeah.
blown away. Even before that, in October of 2022,
Hmm.
there was the Breasties Gala in New York, and I went by myself
Yeah.
and I made a friend there. And, even just somebody complimenting my outfit, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm a person
Yeah.
and you see me
Right. Yeah.
and I'm here.
Yeah. I
And
know,
it's
me
like,
too. It's incredible the connections that you make in this community. And like, of course, none of us
Yeah.
wanted to ever be in this community, but at the same time,
Right?
it's so incredible to be there, and the people and the connections that
Yeah.
you make, and the ability that you find within yourself to be able to share your experiences and to cry with other people, and to, and you don't feel bad about it. You don't have to feel bad about it
Right?
anymore, not in this community. You know that people understand what you're going through, at least to the point where they know why you're crying. They understand and they cry with you. And, the happy times, the
Exactly.
good things that you can share, everybody is genuinely happy for you and with you, and it's just such a different type of community than any other.
Yeah. The holding space is like a whole new uh, experience. Like it's a
Yes.
whole new life experience. But I
Mhm.
think what's like the funniest part is that like the people in my immediate life,
Mhm.
they look at me and they're like, why do you want to be so immersed in the cancer community? Why do you
Mhm.
want to be so surrounded by all these people
Yeah.
that have cancer and that are dying from cancer or
Mhm.
survive from cancer by having all these things? And it's I think the funniest thing for me is that, like, yes, those are my people, right? Those are my people. I
Yeah.
gravitate towards them. We connect with each other. We can complain about those things. But 90% of the time, we're not talking about cancer.
Right.
We're
Right.
talking about
Yeah.
all the other shit that's going on with our lives
Yeah.
and how much bullshit it is that we have to put up with. And then on top of that, we have the cancer shit.
Exactly.
And I think
Exactly.
that's a really big thing that like the people in our lives, like, they want to hear, at least from my experience, it's
Mhm.
like they want to hear all the hardships I have with cancer.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear all the hardships I have with all the other shit going on in my
Right.
life.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Or they want to hear that I'm doing so well with the cancer. So
Mhm.
what do you have to complain about? Because everything's great and
Yeah.
you did so good and blah blah blah. Whereas like the cancer community, it's like you could show up, you can complain about your cancer, and people will listen and
Mhm.
they'll validate and they'll be there for you.
Mhm.
Or you can show up and you can talk about your divorce and
Mhm.
they'll listen and they'll validate you. Or you can show up and you can talk about the shitty day you had at work and
Mhm.
they'll listen and they'll validate you.
Yep.
And it's like, why don't these spaces exist just in general
Yeah. Exactly.
for women in general? I'm like, we need a space to
We
just
do.
fucking bitch about shit and
Yes.
not feel bad about it.
Absolutely. And you know what? That was one of the reasons that my friend and I started this podcast, is to give women
Yeah.
a space to be able to be validated by, about everything that they're going through in their life, everything that they have gone through, being able to share our
Yeah.
stories with each other in a real way, and to learn from
Yeah.
each other and to support each other. And I just feel like I agree with you 100%. I think we all need this, no matter where you are in your life. So
Yeah.
yeah, validation is something that everybody needs. And I agree with you, women especially, I feel like we all need that space. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so here's what we're going to do now. We are going to make this a two-parter. And, Stacy, like, I have loved this conversation with you. It's been great so far. And good enough for another episode. Two-parter, second part. We haven't really gotten that far into your journey, so I really, really want to keep going. And I think we're gonna call this the end of part one. How are you feeling?
I'm just so happy to be here. I think that's what a lot of people need
Yes.
is the opportunity to just, you know, get things out, talk about it, and it's never too little of importance to bring up.
Right. I agree.
And I'm just so appreciative of the space here to talk about all the things that have come up so far.
Yeah. Well, I'm grateful for you being willing to do this. So, with that being said, happy travels, everyone. And thank you again, Stacy.
Thank you, Tori.